What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's the big thing. It's Monday. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I really do. I hope it was wonderful. It was nice. It was peaceful. And we are getting into, hopefully, peaceful negotiations with SAG-AFTRA and the AMPM, QMRS, WXYZ, whatever the studios call themselves today. We're going to cross our fingers and hope. And I got a great panel today to talk about that. Gareth Edwards had the movie called The Creator. It came out. I think it did pretty good. We'll talk about the box office. It didn't beat Paw Patrol, of course. There were some other movies that I thought were going to do well. It didn't. We'll discuss it. But speaking of Gareth Edwards, he was talking about whether there was going to be a sequel to The Creator and also some of those rumors about Rogue One. What did he say? Well, tune into the show. You'll find out. And then we'll also talk about a little bit more, diving deep into that box office. But as you saw on the title, in the thumbnail, everyone loves Taylor Swift. And now Deadpool might love Taylor Swift. Now, there's been rumors that she's been in it for a while. They're buddies. But it's starting to heat up. Is it true? Does it make sense? Is it one of these things like, hey, she's the biggest star in the world. We should put her in the movie, or is there actually a place for her in this film? We'll discuss that and more on today's episode of The Big Thing with what a crew I have today. Brett Sheridan and the returning Kris Carr. Excited to discuss all of these things and more. And for you guys, if you haven't done it already, come on, you got to show a little bit of class. We're almost at 100,000. We just hit 95, kids. The goal is, within my birthday month, which is October, we want to get to 100. If we don't, it means you hate me, and that's fine. And I'll just have to pick it up in November. But if you're able to do it, please do it. Spotify, podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those things. Google, do it, and let the English see you do it. All right, Brett Sheridan, Kris Carr. Let's do it. Welcome back, one and all. Big Thing. With me, Kristian Harloff. But I thought I was cool with my name with a K. But there's a better Kris in town.
What?
And she's right here.
Oh!
It's in the
What's the better
nice.
Kris?
right here.
Nice.
Stupid Stream Deck. I hate you, Stream Deck. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back.
It's nice to have you on the show.
I love being here.
Yeah, it's really good. People like the conversational back and forth that we had last time, and I'm glad to
Good.
do it again.
Good. I'm glad that people don't hate us.
No, they don't. Well, I'm sure
Wonderful.
there's somebody out there who does.
Oh,
but,
well,
but
10% of all people aren't going to be liked.
it's true. And look who's back, ladies and gentlemen.
Heavy metal.
Someone gave us shit, Kris, on the. I was one of these comments last week about the theme song. Why do you have a heavy metal intro? They were so mad.
Just to make them mad.
I know, that's exactly why. Now, while I'm going to see if I can do this on the fly here. I'm going to get this Stream Deck going because this is going to drive me absolutely bonkers. So we got, let's see, that's that one, and I'm going to do this. Look at that, we're back. So yeah, it's people complaining about the theme song. Who cares? Because we've got a great crew, and I'm excited because you don't know the magic that is Brett Sheridan.
I don't. This is my first time meeting Brett.
Oh man, the lead up. That's too much.
It's not too much. Because here's what you're going to learn throughout our conversation. We're going to be talking about things you and I will probably be really kind of diving deep into the Deadpool, and Brett will not add a lot to that conversation. But what Brett will do is he'll bring the laughs, because that's what Brett does.
Wonderful.
But he knows it as well as I do. But Brett, what have you been watching lately?
Just TikTok and stuff like that.
That makes sense. That's exactly the answer I was hoping for.
We finished One Piece and then just stopped watching anything.
Anything else?
Yeah,
You just shut it
yeah.
off. I'm surprised. I got to tell you, I know you don't watch The Bachelor anymore because you used to watch it.
I think we have to. Don't
You're going
we?
to watch the thing, right?
Yeah,
The Golden Piece. What's it called?
Golden
Golden
Piece.
Bachelor.
The Golden Piece.
The Golden Piece.
Yeah, it looks interesting. I think I might have to dive back into Little Bachelor.
I'm not touching it, and I'll tell you why. My wife watches The Bachelor. She loves it. She's been watching it forever. I worked at The Bachelor as a producer for years. And it was what's funny is that my wife and I, when we were dating, she was watching. I think I'd seen an episode, and then randomly I just started kind of working there while I was building schmoes. But I worked there until like 2013. It was a good gig, and then I'll tune into like Bachelor in Paradise when she watches it. But she's been watching it. It's like her show. It's like her comfort food that she watches. So this thing comes on the other day. She's watching waiting for Bachelor in Paradise, and the Golden Bachelor comes in, and I'm watching. I go, this show is not going to do well.
What is this? What is the Golden Bachelor?
The Golden Bachelor is, the structure overall of Bachelor, right?
Yeah.
This is, I think, like 50 and 55, 60 and older. Yeah.
I think he's 70 something.
Is he?
Yeah.
So maybe so. Maybe you I actually think you're right.
We're almost 50.
I
dude.
think you're I think you're right. I think it's more so in like the 65s because there was a woman that popped up and it was like 75. My wife goes, "Oh my God, she looks amazing for 75." And they show the Golden Bachelor kissing one of these women, and I felt like I was watching like my grandparents kiss. And I'm like, this,
Oof.
And it has nothing to do. And I'm prefacing by saying this: I love the fact that they're giving these people the opportunity to find love, and I think it's a very sweet and very like it's a great premise, and I get it. But we also got to remember that to me, like when this show's built off like the sexiness of it all.
Yeah, the hot tub scenes.
100%. And when I was going, ooh, I'm like, who's gonna watch this? Well, I was wrong because this show is crushing it.
Really?
Crushing it. I can't believe. So Brett, you got to watch. You got to fill us in.
Oh yeah, I have to. I just like. Yeah, like you said, it's just one of these things. But I was listening to Stern, and Stern said that he goes, "Listen, I don't watch porno to see me have sex."
Right, I know.
He's like, "I'm the same age as these people," so it's like.
But that's then. So this is why again that I am so glad that you're on the show, because this is as I set up this dynamic initially. I was going to ask you, so what do you think? She didn't even know what was going on.
No.
But I love old people.
Yeah.
I want to see geriatrics fall in
I'm
love.
telling you, I want to
man.
see. I can't believe how well the show is doing. I mean, it's doing really, really well.
That's wild.
So there you go. So Brett, that's what you're going to be tuning
I
into.
think it's the audience. I mean, the audience is older, I believe. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad they did something different, because it fell off for me when I realized that the
young?
women and men that are watching it, or that had watched it for years, are on it and saw it as kids and know that the game part of it. So the game part of it became more than the actually. I think in the beginning there was some actual people that wanted to find love and were in it for the right reason.
It's social media stuff.
Yeah, they just want to be social media stars.
The original season of Love is Blind versus what they've currently been
Yes,
doing.
exactly.
See, I don't know any of that stuff.
I love that one.
Yeah, is that good?
Oh my gosh, it's such trash.
Yeah,
I love it.
But that's the thing, right? You do need certain shows like that, and because it really is junk food.
Exactly.
It's really junk food, and I think that and I guess it's a good transition into this, is that these shows probably had their spike and everything too because of the strike and stuff too right now, right?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, back in the 2007 writers' strike is when we saw the big boon of reality television.
Yeah.
That's when we started keeping up with the Kardashians.
Right.
And we've seen that with the lack of content for the past few months, and we're going to keep seeing it. All these game shows are coming out now too.
Right, and the talk shows are coming back and stuff too. Right.
So it's going to be all that for a while.
All right, well, let's get into the strike itself, though, because it's been going, like, the writer's strike is finally over, and that one went on for a while, and SAG's been going on since, what, August, like late July?
We're in day 70-something.
Day 70-something, right. So they're getting back to the table today. My prediction last week was, and I'm curious to hear what you think, Kris, is that I think that they're going to get back to the table, and they're not. It's the same thing that the AM, PM, WXYZ is going to do. They're going to say, all right, whatever it takes, get to the table. Let's make it happen. What I hope doesn't happen is because SAG, and because they know what the writers got, and they have to ask for a little bit more, and know what they can get, and then, hey, don't push your buttons, and don't, And I think that it won't happen. I think that they're going to sit down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They'll have a deal by Thursday, Friday, and I think people will get back to work the second to last week in October.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I think they're going to mirror basically the same kind of options because AI has been the biggest issue.
Yeah.
And hopefully these are things that are going to be dealt with too before we go into that video game negotiation, because that's right around the corner, and that authorization's been finalized too.
Yep.
But I think they'll come to terms on AI with the same kind of situation they gave the writers of, we can't have AI use your movements and learn from you and manipulate you without your consent. I think we'll still probably get that kind of, it's a residual, it's a success-based residual, right? Mm-hmm. It's a bonus, it's a performance bonus. And I think that's probably what's going to move forward with streaming for us too. Mm-hmm. And then a few of the other things on there, I'm not sure we're going to get great things with, But I think those are the two big table issues that we should come to terms with fairly quickly. And because they finally sat down and went through all of that with the WGA and they paved the way for these negotiations, we'll just follow that.
Brett?
Yep.
Perfect.
We did it. SAG strong, yo.
It's the truth. It's going to be, I do think it's going to be over. And I think we're going to, and the boom, I think that's going to come to our industry here is going to be significant because there's so much information going to be coming out.
Well, I was really curious for you guys too. Like usually the industry kind of shuts down right before Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah.
And if you stay here, it's oh my gosh, it's like the apocalypse. You can go anywhere. It's that Patton Oswalt joke.
It's wonderful.
It's incredible. You can get a sandwich whenever you want. No one's here. But usually it shuts down like that. Do you think we're going to have like this kind of rush order before the holidays of everyone just trying to get their shit done?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do. I think there's going to be a ton of information. I think there's going to be a ton of interviews people want to get out there. I think there's all the projects that are going to be coming out because the movies that are going to be coming out around holiday too.
That's true.
They're going to want to push it. And I think Marvel's comes out around that time too, right?
Yeah, November, first week of November.
First week of November. Okay, so like that's going to be one of the first big movies that's you're going to have like such a press push on that one if the strike winds up coming to the end. But yeah, I think because of everything leading up, and then it leads into because the Christmas holiday is right around the corner. Then so they have to like stack everything up, and all these potential like casting announcements that were already out there that they were working on. People don't realize that though too. Like, well, there's no casting happening during the strike. It's not necessarily true. Like there were things that were happening. Auditions that were going on that were still being discussed and saying, all right, once this thing is over, let's start to make a push towards this person. And they're analyzing tapes, and they didn't shut down. Agencies didn't shut down, So that's going to start. You're going to see a ton of casting news and then more of announcements of when filming is going to begin again. Like look at something like Deadpool 3, which we can, I guess, transition into next after this. But Deadpool was already once the writer's strike happened, they were still shooting. They just weren't shooting they were shooting with the script that they already had. And then they had to shut down once the SAG strike. That's going to pick up because I don't think they're going to hit it's supposed to be May, I think it was, when the movie was supposed to come out. Either way, it's going to be pushed back into like June or July now, which is not that bad. But that's going to be like an announcement that we hear. So yeah, I think that to answer your question, I think that we're definitely going to get a ton of stuff right around the holidays as well too. Yeah. Brett?
I agree. I think everybody else at home is wondering what that red thing is in front of you is.
What red thing?
It does kind of look like there's a dildo on your desk.
Yeah.
You can't see it, but you can't see it
in the wide shot.
Oh, in the wide shot?
Yeah. Is it a sponsor?
Oh, yeah, it is. Well, ladies and gentlemen, get a flashlight. If you've never had a flashlight, get yourself a flashlight. It's good for stuff that if you need to find this for Brett because you can't fix something yourself, Brett will use this flashlight left and right. I don't know what I did. I don't know why that's there. I have no idea, but thanks for pointing it out.
I think everybody at home was wondering that, and it was very crucial.
Yes. Now, before we do move on to Deadpool, Brett, I know that you watched on Netflix. It was what was it? White Owls. Can you tell us about White Owls?
White Owls.
Yeah.
Well, it's the one with the Guardians.
But it's nothing to do with that.
Guardians of Gahul?
Yeah,
but it has nothing to do with that.
It's nothing to do with that one.
Is it Hugh Grant?
Hugh Grant. It's that like there's silver foxes. It's kind of a different term of like a silver fox. It's a white owl.
Right.
And Hugh Grant, gentleman of that age.
Moose hunter, right?
Moose hunter. Yeah, he's a moose hunter who, he's all alone out in there, and he decides he needs to go back to society because it's like he thought being alone would be best, but he wants to find someone. It's just he runs into a group of other white owls. There's Kevin,
What about
Kevin Spacey?
Kevin Spacey's in this one, right? But who's the softball player?
Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman is the softball player.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can never. I don't know why.
You bail on the softball player. None of this is true.
It's like, what is happening?
This has been going on for at least 2 years. No matter who's on, we'll throw on some.
Why can I only think of like canceled actors when it comes to doing fake?
So it's like, why is he in this?
Yeah,
that's not okay.
Kevin Sorbo in
White Owls 3.
White Owls 3.
The Reckoning. Anyway, all right. Well, good.
I got genuinely excited that was going to be like a Guardians of Gahul thing.
I love Guardians of Gahul.
It's so fun.
Underrated.
Oh my gosh.
Underrated movie. Ellis and I, when we saw it, we loved that movie. All right. We're going to get into this Deadpool Taylor Swift thing, but before we do, I do want to tell you guys, as I mentioned before, and I'm glad that they're back, last week. Bad habits are bad habits, but how do you combat a bad habit with a good habit? Let me tell you a little bit about our sponsor, Fume. All right, guys. This episode is sponsored by Fume. Bad habits, man. A lot of people have bad habits, and bad habits can really kick your ass, and they can mess with your health. They really can set you back. I've seen it, been around it, and I know. And when you see this, the first thing you go, well, what is that? The first thing you should know is that's not a vape pen. It's not electronic. It's natural. That's why I'm on board in the first place. What is it then? It's a device, and it helps you quit nasty habits, and that's why I was on board right away when they reached out. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I was skeptical. I didn't know. I was like, I don't know, that's not really my thing. I said, wait a minute. You're not breathing in nasty chemicals with this, and what it is, it's it's just fresh air. It's natural air. It is flavored air. That's it. You heard me. Air. And it flavors it. It is a great way to replace nasty habits. There is no nasty chemicals, none of the stuff that creates bad habits. And that to me was like, wait a minute. So you can actually turn a bad habit and you just make it a good habit because it ain't messing you up and it ain't hurting you. Because I said, wait a minute, flavored air? And I said, it just feels fresh. They sent me one of them. And I said, okay, great, cool. It's pretty well weighted. It's perfectly balanced and it's very easy to fidget with. Stopping is something that everybody puts off because it is hard. But if you switch to Fume, it is easy and it's enjoyable and it's fun. Fume has served over 100,000 customers and has had thousands of success stories, and there's no reason that can't be you. Join Fume in accelerating humanity's breakup from destructive habits by picking up the Journey Pack today. Head to tryfume.com and use that code BIGTHING. You can get 10% off when you get the Journey Pack today. That's tryfume.com. Use that code BIGTHING to save an additional 10% off your order today. All right, thank you once again to our friends over at Fume. Please check it. I got some people reaching out about it, and it's already been helping them. So the link is in the description. You help out yourself, obviously, and you help out the show when you check out one of our wonderful sponsors, and Fume is one of those. Okay, so let's get into this Taylor Swift thing. All right, Taylor Swift. Anyone ever heard of her? Well, there's speculation about a Taylor Swift cameo, and it mounts even more if she's spotted with the movie's cast and stars. This from comicbookmovie.com. Josh Wilding. Rumors have swirled for months that Taylor Swift will make an appearance in Deadpool 3, and many fans are now convinced it's happening after she was spotted alongside the movie's director and cast. For months, we've seen rumors about her making this cameo, and some believe she's going to play Dazzler, while others are convinced the Grammy-winning icon could portray Lady Deadpool. Either way, it's an exciting prospect. You probably don't need us to catch up. You probably don't need us to catch you up on the chatter surrounding Swift's recent attendance at NFL games, but comic book fans have been taking note of the fact that she was at MetLife Stadium to see the Kansas City Chiefs face the New York Jets. Why is that significant? Well, she was there with Shawn Levy and Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. They're currently on break from shooting Deadpool 3 due to the strike, and while we're sure this was just a case of friends hanging out, Blake Lively was also there. It feels like there might be something to this. Swift has acting experience. She's been in Amsterdam and Cats, and this is just a sort. Why do you put that in there?
Let me tell you that Taylor Swift is an accomplished actress. She's been in Cats.
She's been in Cats. It's like
That's so mean.
Put anything else in there. Like literally, put her home movies in there over than that. What are you doing? Anyway, so the buzz surrounding it would no doubt give Deadpool 3 a boost at the box office, and that it really needs it. But Dazzler feels too predictable of a role, so we'll go back to the Merc with the Mouse female counterpart, Wanda Wilson. Okay, that's all we really need from that. I think this is a 100% take it to the bank, go to Vegas, bet everything that you have that this is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this mostly is filled with a cast now that's Ryan Reynolds' buddies.
Right.
Because that's all people want to do at the end of the day when you hit that echelon is, I just want to work with my friends who are cool and fun and not deal with assholes.
And know that but the question also is sometimes that happens and it's like Ocean's 13 or 12, whatever it was, when it was just a bunch of buddies in there and it just felt like we were watching them on vacation. There was no plot.
Yeah, that's true.
And then there's, we're going to use people that we know to play these certain roles that can make it pop and we have a story to tell. And I think that's the case here.
Yeah.
For sure. I think it is. You look at, why wouldn't you? If you're friends with Taylor Swift and you look at what she just did with this concert film, what did it outsell Endgame or something or whatever it was? and you've already been talking to her. You're like, please sign this deal. Even if it's 5 minutes and it's a gag about she's Lady Deadpool and whatever, and to hear her cursing and whatever it might be, hilarious, right? And I actually think she was. There's some movies where she hasn't been great. I thought she was pretty good in Amsterdam, although the movie stinks.
Yeah, the movie's not very good.
It stinks. But yeah, I think this is a no-brainer.
Yeah. Do you think it's more Wanda, though, than Dazzler? Because the whole, it's too obvious that she'd be Dazzler. Yeah. I think that's exactly why.
Do you know?
Put her in there.
Do you know Dazzler? Do you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know enough about it.
So Dazzler often in the 1980s and 90s was a pop star kind of X-Men who also had light powers, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I think that was her deal. Kind of fireworky things, not quite
I love that
Jubilee,
you looked at him for that.
I was just thinking,
maybe you know.
Yeah, no, it sounds like Star. What's from?
From The Boys.
Yeah,
kind of.
Oh, kind of. Yeah. I believe that's her whole thing. But she's just she basically is just a 80s, 90s pop star kind
Great.
of.
I would think I'd prefer her to do that,
Yeah.
right? I think so. I mean, if she could pull off the Lady Deadpool, whatever, but
It'd be hilarious to hear her
would.
saying filthy, nasty shit like Ryan does.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something though where you put Blake Lively in there, so then he gets to have more meta jokes about how much he wants to have sex with himself.
that's hilarious. Maybe, yeah, but I mean, who cares as long as she's going to be in it and it's going to get people in their seat. Now the question though is that because this is the first rated R Disney movie, there's so many. Taylor Swift's popularity goes way beyond just 12 to 17-year-olds, but they're significant. So they're not going to necessarily be able to see this in the theater. They'll find a way.
I mean, if you have a cool parent,
I know. Yeah.
They'll find a way. I wouldn't take my 12-year-old, she's almost 12, is a major Taylor Swift fan. Loves her. They went to the concert, everything. She's not ready for Deadpool yet. Now I'm not saying that there are some 12 or 13-year-olds that could handle it. Parents, I saw obviously RoboCop when I was that age. I very different time when I was growing up. But my daughter's is my I'll tell you though, my 6-year-old could probably watch it tomorrow.
100%.
She's already a soprano. She's going to be taking people's kneecaps out. But the other one's more sensitive, so I don't think so. But I'm just curious if that's going to be an issue at all. But it doesn't matter.
Listen, she put Travis Kelce on the map. She's going to put Marvel on the map.
boom. You heard it here first.
Have you seen people it's women telling their boyfriends or husbands isn't it great that Taylor Swift put Travis Kelce on the map? And they're like, he's been on the map.
He's been on the map.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing what she is an absolute phenomenon. I mean,
she could be president.
You joke.
No joke. No joke.
No joke.
Eventually, if she holds this kind of weight, she could run.
Yeah.
Whether she could win, and people go, oh, you're crazy, you're crazy.
A reality star with a golden toilet won. She could do it.
Many people have. Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor.
Yep.
Jesse Ventura was it's one of these things. It's this type of stuff does carry weight. Now she's only 33 years old. But in general, the kind of what she has,
minimum age, I think 33, 35.
Yeah, but she's not going to do it anytime soon. She's got to.
She's lazy then.
She's lazy. 100%.
Why would she want to step down in her power?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Take a
Or
major
whatever.
hit. Do you know, first of all, I saw Ed Sheeran at SoFi with my daughter 2 weeks ago. And he set the single day record for 81,000 people were at that stadium. It was insane, 81,000. But, I mean, Taylor Swift was going 3 or 4 days or whatever it was. She plays for 4 hours.
Yeah.
For 4 hours. And everybody's losing it. It was Seattle. She had a concert in Seattle where the energy in the stadium was comparable to an earthquake. The energy of it nuts. Yeah. She boosts the economy of every city she goes to. So if you are Marvel and Ryan Reynolds goes, hey, I think I can get Taylor Swift, do it.
Yeah. She's a Comic-Con.
100%. That is the most accurate statement anyone's ever said.
Yeah.
She boosts everything.
She is the Comic-Con.
Wild.
That's hilarious. She could have a SwiftCon easily.
Oh,
easily.
And I would be there.
Right. Are you a big fan as well?
I love her so much, but I'm poor, so I'm very jealous that you guys went to the concert.
Yeah,
I have my tickets for that movie. I'm hyped. I'm going to be flinging friendship bracelets. gonna be magical.
I mean, look, the seats that I got them in December for my daughter and my wife for Christmas, and it was not cheap. And the seats that they had, they might as well have been sitting on top of the stadium. My wife was like, my dad got me the tickets for Ed Sheeran for Christmas. We had really good seats for Ed Sheeran. We could see him and everything too. It was great. My wife was like so mad at me when I sent pictures to her because she's like, Taylor Swift was like that size. It's like Ant-Man. It was like Ant-Man. And it was, and I was like, I didn't spend like $20.
No,
it was like for the amount. I mean,
They were pricey.
That's my point. Is that you put her in this movie, and I think that for people who are going, oh, what are you doing? You putting Taylor Swift in it? You don't understand business, and she's not gonna have a major role in it. No. Yeah. So this is a no-brainer.
And I don't care that anybody. Oh, Taylor Swift, you've hummed at least one of her songs.
I'm telling you.
Once. I mean, the catchiest tunes. Yeah.
They are.
Taylor Swift for president.
And if you don't like her music, you can at least appreciate her artistry and her business acumen.
The only thing that I remember, Josh McCougar was on Collider Live, and he had said, and I didn't have the same type of respect for Taylor Swift that I did now. I had her more in that idea of that she was just kind of like, one of these pop stars that come and go. Back then, I was completely wrong. But she's extremely talented. And at the time, he was like, she's better than Prince. I still don't think that's the case. But it's also, now I won't tell you that, someone of a different generation won't agree with him. Right? Like where this was actually really funny. My 6-year-old, who again is about as big of a character as you're going to find, loves 80s music. Like loves 80s music. Can tell you like when Jump comes on or Bon Jovi or whatever, she jumps on the couch, she's losing her mind, and Madonna came on. So Material Girl came on. So I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show her the video. So I turned on the Material Girl video. And my wife comes in and she's like, "Oh, this." And my oldest wasn't there. My wife goes, "She's so much better than Taylor Swift." And she walks away. And my 6-year-old looks at me and goes, "Well, I guess Mom's not a Swiftie anymore." It's hilarious, really funny. Anyway, so yeah, let me know, guys. What do you think? Do you think this is a good move? If you were a studio executive, if you were Ryan Reynolds, would you put Taylor Swift in your movie? Do you think that it hurts it? Do you think that it helps it? What say you? Leave your comments. Tell me what you think. Speaking of money, thinking of box office, what can it do? Let's talk about box office for this weekend. Yeah, man. All right, speaking of my 6-year-old, this movie, Paw Patrol. Man, this was her Taylor Swift. She wanted to go. I've taken her to like 4 movies. This is her 4th movie she's seen in the theater, and this was her most excited she's ever been for the movies. Paw Patrol is also a phenomenon, and Paw Patrol, the animated sequel, the mighty movie, topped the box office this week, $23 million domestically, and double that worldwide. On a like-for-like basis, the film is 70% ahead of the first movie. Added to that, the film is only halfway through its international rollout, so there'll be plenty more to add to this total. Budget of only $30 million, and with the robust merchandise and consumer product sales on top of that, expect a third film sooner rather than later. Saw X took second place domestically with an impressive $18 million, which more than doubled the opening of the prior installment Spiral. It pulled in a further $11.3 million from overseas with a worldwide debut of $29.3. Excellent work for a movie that cost just $13 million. This is going to get to a heavier point a little later on. Gareth Edwards' $80 million science fiction epic, The Creator, debuted in third place, $14 million, below expectations, though it had a better start overseas with a further $18.2. Going wide this week was the GameStop short stock film Dumb Money, which flopped, taking in $3.5 million in 7th place after 2 weeks in limited release. The extreme weather in New York, expected to have been the film's biggest market, may have impacted it. As such, the $30 million budget feature made just $7.3. The Nun 2 spooked its way into 4th with $4.67 million, bringing its domestic total to $76.7 million after 4 weeks and $231 million worldwide. Solid performance for a $38 million budget film. Yep. Okay, I'm going to start with you.
See that? It spooked its way into 4th.
Yeah, you like that?
Because it was a Saw and it was scary.
Did you like that?
It spooked it.
Did you like the way they wrote that?
I think Paw Patrol pawed its way into 1st.
I like what you're doing.
Well done.
Well done. Nice job. What stands out to you?
Those budgets. That's the big thing here.
Yep.
You can't make up your money if you have these huge budgets. And I loved The Creator. I loved that movie so much. It ticked so many of my sci-fi boxes. But 80 mil? I mean, looks like it. It looks like 80 mil.
But 80 mil, but they spent 80 mil on that movie the right way.
They did.
They really spent, it's like, so I don't mind a risk like that for 80 mil because other movies take 150, 200, 250 million and don't look that good. The Flash
Fast X
looked
Flash.
250 million, didn't look even remotely close to as good as The Creator did. So I don't mind going for an 80 million if you can make it up. It just, people just didn't show up for it all the way through. I think it'll have a life on streaming. I think it'll have in general, and I think that's a movie that can have legs. I don't mind, and you know me, I've been talking about. I couldn't agree with you more on budgets. It drives me crazy. I give that one a pass on 80 because it looks so good.
It looks really beautiful, and it's so well done. But for original IP, which I don't care what anyone says when everyone always does the like, no one makes new movies. People don't show up to them, and that's why, which is really frustrating. And they have great actors in here, phenomenal actors, but not A-listers who every household member knows. Like my mom still isn't sure who Gemma Chan is.
Right.
Where she's like, oh, she did a Marvel movie, right? Where she's blue. And I'm like, well, one of them. One of them. And so it's not like a Fast X or a Flash where you're putting a bunch of money into the stars themselves. You're putting into the actual film and how it looks. But it's so expensive. And some of the other ones on here too. I mean, like the way that you can make horror on these shoestring budgets always floors me. Like A24's capitalized on it so much the past year.
I mean, them, Blumhouse, like Blumhouse. That's the thing that because for me, it's like taking that risk. If you're going to take a risk at like 50, 60 mil. If you're going to take a risk at a big sci-fi movie and you're going to go 80, I'm okay. Like I said, I'm okay with that risk. I'm not okay with a risk at if they would put 150 into that movie, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? And if like 200, 250 million, even for recognizable IP, unless you've really earned it, like an Endgame or like something where it's like, okay, each movie, this is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Then I get it. But like, I always bring it up. Indiana Jones, insanity. Now, I was talking to Sam Levine last week, and he brought up some good points too. Is that these budgets don't always start out like it could have been greenlit. Indiana Jones could have been greenlit for like 150, but with reshoots and different things that kind of stack up, then you get to 300. But that's also just mistake in audience anticipation and other things too. But yeah, I agree with you, Kris. I think that the thing that really stands out to me is that these budgets of, look, if you're able to really hone in on something that's 15, 20 million and you can capitalize, because then if it makes 100 and you've made a profit.
Yeah.
Now, Dumb Money is the one I said in the intro that I said some of these that didn't do well shocked me. That one shocks me, yet doesn't at the same time. It does shock me because I've heard nothing but amazing things about this movie. I've heard it was hilarious. I thought it was really good. I just heard it's a really solid movie. But it does seem to me now there are these categories of movies that start to, this movie seems like it should have been on Apple. That's just where we are in the entertainment right now. There's certain movies that if you see it, you're like, that's not a movie that people go to the movie theaters for anymore. It's just not. Brett, what say you?
I totally agree, and I think you nailed it on the head there. That there are films now that people just want to see streaming, and they're not bringing people into the. It's hard to get people in the theater now, and you can't bring them in with dumb money
because you've seen it. Because you can see it. Because the other thing is, out of all of us, how much do you think you pay, or how many? I shouldn't say that. How many subscriptions on streaming do you think you subscribe to?
I think 4.
Okay, 4. I'm way past that.
I think I've got 6 or 7.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm probably in the same range. Let's say average is 4 or 5 for most people. With prices going up right now, that's like between $10 to $15 a month a piece, right? That's way past a movie ticket. Like way past a movie ticket. And you're like, so if you got all these movies that are coming out, and it's like, okay, well, Dumb Money's coming out. There's so many movies on Apple right now. These other things I haven't seen yet. And I'm spending like $120, $130 a month. I think I'm just going to stay home. We'll make some popcorn. We'll do this, and that's it. Now, if there's certain huge events, like big events, and you're like, oh, that looks like that'd be cool to watch in the theater. And I'm sure Dumb Money's awesome. I've heard nothing but good things, but it just doesn't seem like one of those movies like, I need to see that in the theater.
Well, and Dumb Money has that whole situation, too, of it's a stacked cast.
Yeah.
And while it's a really interesting story, mostly you're going, though, because this incredible cast is part of it.
Right.
And we saw with Dune was, well, we're going to push this because none of our actors can promote this movie right now.
That's right.
And I think a movie like this that is more of a slice of life kind of storytelling, you want Pete Davidson on the late night circuit. You know, you want Paul Dano out there talking about stuff.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you don't have that, then you lose interest in these kinds of movies.
Yeah, and you don't. It's just not in the public. It's just, people aren't talking about it.
Exactly.
They're just not talking about it. Like, look at this is the thing I brought up last week is that whether you agree or disagree with what Martin Scorsese has been saying for the last 5 years about comic
Movies are done.
right?
Yeah.
But he's no dummy. He knows he's got a movie coming out, and he knows that everyone is going to cover him talking shit about comic book movies. Why is this guy talking shit? He's got a movie coming out. Oh yeah, what's the movie? Because it's still Martin Scorsese. Because even I would love to see the majority of people. Now there's going to be people, you know, that just love these particular big budget comic book movies that put their dukes up to anybody who says shit about them, and they would never want to see a Scorsese movie in general. But then there's other people who be like, what is Scorsese saying now? Well, he's got a movie. Oh yeah, what's his movie?
Oh.
Right, because it's Scorsese. I don't care. He's like the grouchy old grandpa shaking his fist on the on the porch. I don't care. I want to see that movie. I really want to see that movie.
I really want to see that one. Yeah. Every time he talks shit about Marvel, though, I'm like, bro, you were in Fishtail.
Shark's Tale, right?
Or Shark's Tale. Thank you.
Yeah,
you need to calm down.
He was. That's right.
We all sometimes do things for money.
I'm telling you, he is no dummy. He knows that if he goes after these things, he probably saw the last time that he took shots, even when the first time he did it, the amount of press he got was crazy. So he's like, I'm just going to do that again. As he should have. It's like, who cares? I mean, because no one's going to change their opinion. It's like my dad, our parents, they have their own points of view that you're not going to change them no matter what. They live in a very different time, and they've lived enough life that they're not going to change certain opinions and the way that they approach things. And Scorsese is no different.
And it's a safe thing to have an opinion on. It's not. He's not an old man making racist comments. Right. He's not saying, well, there shouldn't be less broads in film. It's something valid that an older gentleman would say. These darn comic book movies, 100%. Kids with their
it's like that's what people don't realize is that that's a great point, because if you went over, all my grandparents have passed on, but if my grandfather was still around, in no world could I see my grandfather going, how about that last Iron Man movie?
Yeah, right.
And he's gonna be like, what the hell is the guy doing shooting the things? And I don't know what's going on. And that's what he is. He's a grouchy old man who makes amazing movies, and I can't wait to see it. Although my favorite quote from Leonardo DiCaprio ever about Martin Scorsese was after. How do you feel about Wolf of Wall Street?
I think it's a good movie.
I love it. I love it because I think that it is. I think people that think that, Jordan Belfort was being kind of glorified miss the entire point of the film. Mm-hmm. It's the farthest thing from that. It's the Goodfellas of Wall Street. And DiCaprio's comment was so fantastic. He goes, I think at the time he was 74, 73, whatever he was. Let's say 73. And he goes, at 73 years old, he's still making punk rock.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. I mean, you look at that. You look at Wolf of Wall Street. Whether you think it's fine, good, you can't look at that and think that the grandpa made it.
Yeah,
you can't.
Yeah,
it's amazing. Speaking of amazing, AG1 baby, AG1 and Marine Layer, both of our sponsors. I love them both. I'm glad that Marine Layer is back, and AG1. I've been talking about them forever. I'll tell you a little bit more about both of them right now. Support for today's episode comes from Marine Layer. You guys know I love t-shirts. I wear them all the time. They sent me the softest t-shirt ever. Like ever. Imagine like the softest thing that you ever touched. Kittens. Small puppies. Or freshly fallen snow. Now take that by 1,000. I'm telling you, these things are so soft. I couldn't believe it. People tell you that stuff all the time, but this is fact. Whether you're going out on a date, you're at the office, you're keeping it casual, you're shooting videos, Marine Layer has the best shirts for every occasion. Marine Layer clothes are that perfect mix of laid-back style that also looks and feels premium. So I needed a new gear, man, and they sent me this website, and I was on there forever going through stuff and picking out great stuff. They just have so much to choose from and so many different things. Like comfortable, whatever your style is. I love it. It's so soft. It doesn't matter how many times you wash it. Soft. It's incredible. I love them. And I'm always in the look for new gear, and I found it. Marine Layer, man. Now, for a limited time, get 15% off with the code BIGTHING15 for 15% off your entire order at marinelayer.com. Save your closet one shirt at a time. I love talking about AG1. It's the daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. I drink it every day. Set it up. I put it in this cup. I've told you about the zoo cup that I have. I love this stupid zoo cup, but I love AG1 because I put it in the cup, just mix it around, and that's it. I get better gut health. I have a boost of energy. I have my immune system support. It's helping my sleep quality. That's what's really great about it. It helps my sleep quality. I'm just never been a person that can keep up with that supplement routine. And here's 3,000 different vitamins. Take this point, take this, then. Screw that. I take it once, put it in that cup, shake it around, and that's it. And I felt so much better. I have a extra pep in my step because of it. And I don't understand why people want to take a whole bunch of different things. You can just do it all. One scoop of powder, put it in water once a day. That's it. Because it was designed with ease in mind. You can live your life healthier and better, and you don't have to complicate your routine. I love getting the single serving, the AG1 travel packs for me because they're just simple. If I have even when I go to a screening, sometimes if I forget to take it, I'm like, oh, I got my travel pack. I'll take it now, and I never miss a day. If you want to take ownership of your health, you try AG1. You get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Go to drinkag1.com/bigthing. Drinkag1.com/bigthing. Check it out. It's every single week I get somebody saying, hey, I tried it. I signed up because of you. You've been telling me about it, and I love it. Be one of those people. Tell me about it. Get control of your energy. Get control of good sleep quality. Drink AG1. All right. Thank you to our sponsors, both AG1 and Marine Layer. I have been loving, I got these pants, man, from Marine Layer. They're so comfortable, and I don't normally, like sometimes the loose pants, it's not sweatpants. They're like these kind of looser pants, and I was like, I don't know, am I going to look like a bum? And I'm like, no, I look stylish. I'm like, this is how'd that happen? So Marine Layer made me look stylish. I don't know. Anyway, if you want to get some really great stuff, and you want to support this show, that's how you can do it. People ask all the time, how can I support the show? Support yourself. Get yourself some goodies with one of our wonderful sponsors. It's linked in the description. First comment below. Okay. Moving on. All right. Speaking of Gareth Edwards, he was recently, in his interview, as he was building up the creator, some Dark Horizons, he said, though most of the complaints about it is that it deals with tired and familiar tropes for the genre, the creator is still something you don't see often. It was a standalone, big-budget science fiction original feature. That's what Kris was talking about before. The film doesn't require any previous viewings. It's not tied to an existing franchise, and it isn't even an adaptation of a famous property like a book or a game. The result is a film exploring the idea of AI and how the world would look if it became divided on the use of that technology, resulting in a fully fleshed-out world that seems ripe to explore. In an interview with the director, Edwards was asked about the possibility of his new movie getting a sequel or a spin-off, to which he says there are no plans, and this is very much a completely self-contained story. The main reason? He's a big fan of endings. He says, my favorite thing about cinema versus television is that cinema ends. My favorite part of that storyline is the ending, and I really like it when you sort of work backward from the end and everything's set up to this climax where there's a kind of mic drop moment, and in the credits roll, they're my favorite kind of films. There's no intention to do part 2 or anything like that. I'm happy to see this being a standalone, one-off, self-contained story. Those are my favorite types of films. For the full quote, head on over to the direct. And the thing, I think another reason why, this is not a shot. It's just the harsh reality of it. Another reason you're not getting a sequel is it just didn't do well enough to warrant a sequel. I really enjoyed the movie, like you. I think that what the movie did, it starts off really, really strong. It's gorgeous. The Hans Zimmer score, which I didn't expect Hans Zimmer, first of all. The middle kind of falls a little towards the dull side.
Yeah.
And then it just ends so well that you're like, okay, I forgive you.
It's a breakneck pace
Yes.
once you get to that point. Oh.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was, I really enjoyed watching it because of everything you said before. It was original sci-fi. It just, it kind of, I thought it actually spun a couple things on its head to where you thought you were going to go. I don't really agree with all these familiar tropes. I saw other people saying that.
No, I feel like it deals with a lot of like typical sci-fi tropes in unique ways. Like the Prime Directive is one of my favorite things to think about in sci-fi, and one of my favorite things to talk about people voicing robots and AI in video games. Of well, you're not just a robot; you're programmed to do something.
Right.
So what? You still have motivation to do things, and I love that exploration in sci-fi of okay, well, what did we build to do stuff, or what did we do, and how does that change and grow and evolve?
Yeah,
and I think they do such a cool job with that.
I really did, and I was glad to see because here's my I think Gareth Edwards when he did I didn't love the Godzilla one that he did. That was funny. It looked cool at the end of the Godzilla himself, but the story itself. The first one he did was the first one. It was Shoot. It was an alien. It was another alien movie, wasn't it? What's the independent one that he did, the smaller one, where they really kind of came on the scene. Monsters, is that what it was called? Monster? I don't know. Anyway, so Rogue One, and we'll talk about it in a second. I just don't know how much of Rogue One is really his.
Oh,
because here, think about it in logic terms. You do $1 billion movie in 2016, and your next real movie isn't until 2023. In what world does an agent not be able to just easily say, you just did $1 billion movie? How easy is it for me to say, she just directed $1 billion movie, what do you got for her? Guy's been nowhere to be found for 7 years or whatever. He's maybe done smaller things, I don't know, but something like this is the first time you've really seen him doing press, like big movie. And this, to me, I believe this is his movie through and through, this creator. Tony Gilroy got Andor, not him. And everyone talked about how it was Gilroy's movie. Diego Luna sat where you were sitting right now, and I was having that conversation, and he was talking about, not whether he directed, but just about Rogue One. He referred to Gareth Edwards, when he met him, as the director. He called Tony Gilroy every time he spoke about him, and he only called Gareth Edwards the director. When I met the director the first time, he did this. That to me, he talked about Gilroy on Rogue One. He talked about, it's like, so I think what Gareth Edwards did, and we're going to get into this story in a second because he addresses some of this stuff, but Gareth Edwards, to me, it was, look, Luke, they didn't like what he was doing. They told him to kind of take a back seat, and he played ball. And he just kind of, all right, look, I'll take ball, I'll take the credit, I'll do what I have to do, and that's it. But that's kind of the way that I look at it. What do you think?
I wasn't aware of any of that, so now I'm like, oh, because usually your director is your key person, your leader on everything, and they're setting the tone for everything. But that's very odd to use that kind of language.
But think about it, like,
and that gap in time,
right?
I mean, maybe he was really ruminating on the creator.
Come on. Colin Trevorrow, after Jurassic World, got the next Star Wars. He didn't finish the Star Wars movie, but he got it like right away. Oh, you did $1 billion movie? Here's Star Wars. You know what I mean? And then he did that other movie. And it got taken away from him. But then he wound up doing the other Jurassic World, the third one or whatever, and that did $1 billion also. So it just doesn't make sense. But let's get into the actual. I think that he talks about this and addresses some of it. I haven't read the full thing, but here we go. Okay, again, Dark Horizons. Gareth Edwards has creator in cinemas. His first feature since Rogue One, which has become infamous for its behind-the-scenes story. A big part of the infamy is that no one is quite sure what happened as stories of reshoots, creative overhauls, and confusion over who was responsible for what in that film. What is known is that Edwards directed the movie and delivered his director's cut. Then Tony Gilroy was hired for rewrites and helped out in the reshoots of the film, which are said to have gone up for 5 weeks. That's almost like a full movie. Beyond that is where the conjecture starts, with some saying that Gilroy took over the film and redid it as much as 40%. Others suggest his role has been overplayed and Edwards' contributions have been minimized. Not helping is the key players have kept quiet about it, beyond comments from Gilroy back in 2018 on the Moment podcast, where he says the film was in terrible, terrible trouble and spoke about his rewrites effectively solved the issues. Meanwhile, Edwards has avoided discussing the topic much while out promoting the creator. Few bits confirm some elements fans thought were part of the reshoots were in fact right there from the start. In an interview with KCRW's The Business, via THR, Edwards has finally opened up about Rogue One by pushing back against the narrative surrounding the project was in trouble. He says, the stuff that is out there on the internet about what happened on the film, there is a lot of inaccuracy about the whole thing. Tony came in and he did a lot of great work for sure. There's no doubt about it, but we all worked together until the last minute of that movie. It's always a team effort making a movie, especially a big giant movie like that. Edwards also explains why he will not speak ill of the experience. Someone who gets that opportunity to make a Star Wars film and then starts complaining about it, I don't think many people have much empathy for that kind of person. So I don't want to be them. It was a dream come true. I'm proud of the movie we all made. What goes into Fight Club stays into Fight Club kind of thing. It's like that. I just want to sound grateful for what happened and not talk negatively about everything. I think he proves my point. I think he doesn't really necessarily says I was around for the reshoots. I believe that. I believe that he was there. I don't think he was ousted from that process. I think he sat back and said, "Okay, Gilroy's coming in, whatever." And then the last comment, he played ball.
Yeah, that was a real diplomatic response.
He played ball. Yeah. He played ball, and he doesn't want to step on those toes because who knows? And he's a big Star Wars guy. He loves Star Wars. So I mean, I don't know if he is anymore. I think I think he's very, very smart. And I think I actually had the opportunity to meet him at Star Wars Celebration. He's a sweetheart of an individual. He's a really, really nice guy. And he is just one of those guys that he's just going to go, yeah, all right, whatever. I took the gig. They brought this guy in, and now I'm doing my own thing. It's the thing that I wonder is that if because this thing got so big and because so many people found out about it, if that put him in this kind of director jail for 7 years or whatever it was.
Ooh. That's a big possibility.
7 years.
7 years is a long time.
Yeah, that's rough.
This is one of my most unpopular opinions on the internet. I've got two. Yeah. I've never seen Gladiator, and everyone gets mad at me about it. It came out when I was a child, and my parents didn't take me to see it. I'm so sorry. I never got to it.
Which Gladiator? Russell Crowe?
The Russell Crowe
okay,
one.
not the one with Cuba Gooding Jr.
No.
I love that one.
The Russell Crowe one. And then my other one is I don't really like Rogue One that much.
Oh, my God.
And everyone's always really mad about it. And I'm going to rewatch it again because I enjoyed Andor, and it made me appreciate the movie more. But I did not look into any of the backstory on this. So this is very wild to me.
I think, you know when you should watch Rogue One, though? When Andor season 2 is over.
That's what my plan is. Yeah, I want to see all of this and then go into that so I have the whole experience. Because that's one of the things I disliked was, I barely got to know these people.
Right.
So I don't care that much.
Fair.
So
I actually do think it is the best. When I saw it originally, it wasn't in the camp, but after watching it, I think it's the best of the Disney era. Because of somewhat of the opposite. When I saw Force Awakens, I said, okay, we're getting back into it now. And then when I watch Force Awakens now, I still think it's fine. I think it's good, but it's like I just know it leads to nothing. It just leads to nothing.
That's fair.
Yeah. And so it's more disappointing as Rogue One leads to the original trilogy.
Sure.
And it also will connect to this show in Andor, because Andor, Rogue One is the series finale, which I think is very creative. Have you watched Andor yet?
No.
Still haven't watched it. Dude, that one you should, but Golden Bachelor, that's the one you should.
No, that's first on the list. That's first on the list.
Then
you got to.
The only thing that really stuck out in this article for me was that he misquoted Fight Club.
That pissed you off?
Yeah, he was like, the old saying, fool me, Fight Club once.
George
what?
Bush. Yeah.
No, he said, what goes into Fight Club stays into Fight Club? That's not the same.
It's a kind of mixed Vegas with Fight Club. Whatever. That's why I had reshoots.
What goes in the sausage stays in the sausage when you make it, and you don't want to see him making it, though.
You don't want to know about it.
Yeah.
What was that movie on Apple, the sausage movie you were watching?
The Sausage Kingdom.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to our last story today. This is something that I'm very interested about when it comes to this Heels show. Heels. The wrestling show got canceled. It's now being shopped around. So, again, Dark Horizons, a few days ago, came word that Starz had canceled several series, most notably its period wrestling drama Heels, starring Stephen Amell and Alexander Ludwig. It was one of a number of notable cancellations of late, including HBO's Winning Time, Hulu's How I Met Your Father, and ABC's Home Economics, all abruptly ending up getting the axe. In wake of that cancellation, showrunner Mike O'Malley has confirmed he is actively searching for a new network and is happily sharing his plans for a third season. Speaking with EW, O'Malley confirmed his desire to shop the show around. Yeah, we are actively doing it, and some of the actors are still under contract. Obviously, the writer's strike just ended. I couldn't have any conversations about this until now, and granted, they just told me on Friday. But not only are we trying to find a new network, I believe that Starz executives, when they say they want to see a future for the show, because they did invest a lot in the show, I really do think it's going to have a life somewhere else. Now, right now, there is a chance there is no network choosing to pick it up. Not helping is that Amell was on the receiving end of a bad press following his remarks about the WGA and the strikes in July. Now, I definitely think that had something to do with them going, all right, you know what, people are probably kind of bailed on this show a little bit too. It wasn't really doing a lot. I think that if you're Mike O'Malley, you do everything that you can and knock down the door at Peacock. And you knock down that door and you say, let's figure something out. Because if they can get that to happen and they can figure out a deal with WWE and they can make the next step to crossover Starz with the WWE and crossover Starz into how eventually they get to WWE and make the WWE something, that's part one. AEW just isn't holding the kind of weight it was a little while ago. It was you could try to do that if it, and maybe cross some people over, but probably not now because CM Punk is part of heels, and that didn't go very well with AEW. But if you can get Peacock on board, that's the way you could save this show by crossing over.
Exactly. You gotta. Because of the 7 streamers I have, Starz is not one of the subscriptions I have too. So I haven't watched any heels. I freaking love wrestling.
Oh, you would love it. It's really the first season was pretty good.
I really want to check it out. And, you know, Steven said what he said, and then he retracted it on the lines. We talked about it.
Yeah, we did.
And if that's what turned people off to the show, that is a shame. But I think if you do that kind of cross promotion where during wrestling matches, you have the stars come out and you have them talk, and they don't even have to wrestle. They just have to talk shit to each other and like interact with everyone who's on there. Have the Miz come out and fucking hype up.
Or be like a character, whatever. Because the thing is, if you have, so it's essentially they're trying to get to the big dance, right? And it's like if the big dance is the WWE, and you can do all these things, you can actually start having them cross over and promoting it on Raw and promoting it on SmackDown and promoting it at the pay-per-views, and having Stephen Amell has done stuff with the WWE, you know, like that is how you do it. I'm sure this isn't like, oh yeah, good idea. I didn't think about that. It's probably the first phone call that Michael O'Malley made.
They're so lucky that they listened today.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm so glad that
they wouldn't even. Who knows? They wouldn't have thought about it. And now they know about the show with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah,
they know about
exactly.
They're all
this.
going to be into White Owls.
White
It's
Owls.
great.
There's
So
freaking
good.
mosquitoes. I don't know what to do with them.
They're horrible. I left Texas for a multitude of reasons, but these little shits,
The bastards.
I hate them so much.
I hate them. Like I was like, and they've really only been invading like the last like 2 weeks. I wish I could have left it in because it was so funny. The other I was doing Capes and Cowls, and I was doing like a read for an ad, and as I was editing it, I didn't see it when I was doing it. Winston was sitting there, and Winston's like, he's going after it. And these little bastards, I don't know what they're coming after, but they chewed me up the other day. It's
I
not
don't
as
get
bad
eaten
today.
up. I used to back in the
Dude.
day. Yeah, and my wife
Blood
gets
tastes like
welts. Yeah, no, it
That's
must
what
be all
happens to
just the
me.
disgusting food
They don't wanna get
seeping
hammered.
through
They don't
my-
wanna get
Yeah,
hammered.
they want to get hammered.
There's just so much bourbon in my body.
like,
That's
there's-
why I feel like they go for me.
Yeah,
so much lard. So many Oreo cookies.
They don't want Oreos. It's true. All right. We did it. We did the show today, and I'm so glad that
We
we did.
did.
We did it. We figured it out. We made it work. Thank you guys for joining us here today. I'm so glad that you were able to join us. And every time you put the show on, it really, really is a very humbling, nice thing. Thank you so much. Leave your comments. If you want to support the show and you're able to, you have the means to, please consider one of our wonderful sponsors. As I said, it's linked in the description and also the first comment pinned. I'd like to thank our guests today, starting with the wonderful Kris Carr. Kris, where can I find you?
You can find me on Instagram. It's Kris Carr. Or if you're interested in voiceover, head over to speakfriendstudio.com and we'll chat about it.
Brett, what about you? What do you do?
I'm interested in voiceover.
Go to my website, Brett.
Yeah, I'll go there. Yeah, K95 FM. Is that what we're talking about?
So good.
The future of rock and roll.
So good. So you can see Brett hounding and harassing Kris Carr.
Yes, surrounding Kris Carr. And,
Yeah. Where else can I find you? How about your show? How about your
YouTube.
channel? How about your
YouTube,
channel?
Above Board TV, YouTube. Check it out. I just had one drop that was a spoof on the game Clue. I was being interrogated. Yeah, it was a fun one. I think some good responses on that one. And then I'm always here with Kristian, just yucking it up.
Doing the yucks. So thanks again to everybody here today. And if you haven't already done it, show a little. We're at 95, hoping to get to 1,000. We got a lot of cool stuff coming up, man. Tomorrow, the director, you know that the Encounters that's out on Netflix right now. It's that 4-part series on UAP, Steven Spielberg produced, Boardwalk produced, Vice produced, and we got the director on tomorrow on the UAP Tuesday show. So please go ahead and check that out. Wednesday, we're going to have the Ahsoka finale. Thursday, we're going to be doing just a fun shoot the shit show. And then Friday, we're back with Capes and Cows, Coy and Winston. So we got a full stack show, got Exorcist reaction, got Loki reactions coming out, that and more. So thanks for joining us on the show. We appreciate you, and we'll see you on the flip side. Bye.